Yo, what's going on guys? It's Offbeat here, back with another episode of Behind the Bars, where this week we're talking about my latest track, Peter F. Pan. So first of all, I want to say a big shout out to everyone who's commented and liked the original video. I've got a few of my favourites up on the screen now. You guys know who you are, and big love. So basically, Peter F. Pan is a story about me going to a school reunion and bumping into various people who basically judge me for not having achieved the things that society thinks we should have achieved by a certain age, such as having a certain job, being settled down, having a house, that sort of thing. So the first character that I bump into is a male character who's unnamed, and he basically has a problem with me making music and not having a real job. And then the second character is a female character called Amy, who basically is someone that I used to date back in the day in the story, and she is sort of judging me for not being settled down, not being married. And then the third verse is basically me retaliating and responding to them and basically ranting at them and telling them the kind of hypocrisies and the flaws that I see in their stories. So contrary to belief, I know some people have commented already thinking that this was based on like a real life story. It's not. I've never been to a school reunion before, so it's not actually based on a specific sort of experience, but it is based on like an amalgamation of various other experiences I've had. So when I've been to like weddings or birthdays for like old mates from school, it's always been people that I've bumped into from school, and this is kind of how it's made me feel. So there was one particular instance that like triggered the idea for the song, and that was bumping into an old mate, and basically I told him that I was still making music, and he was clearly trying not to laugh basically, and I was clearly trying not to yawn because his life sounded so boring and he was so settled down, and I think we basically both kind of walked away from that meeting from each other, both just like thinking how lucky we were not to be that other person. So that was the moment that like sparked the actual idea for the song, and I just got thinking more and more about it and more experiences that I'd had like that, and just sort of merged them all into these two specific characters and created this song. Also, I just wanted to write this song because I know there's loads of other people out there who feel like me, who basically haven't settled down yet, who are perfectly happy with that, but who feel that like society is kind of judging them. So I wanted to write this song as like a bit of an anthem for these types of people really, and just to say like, you know, we're actually perfectly okay with how our lives are, thank you, and this is a song for those people. So as I mentioned in my last video, My Gym was like the last kind of like fun comedy track for a while on the album. The next few tracks like a bit more dark and a bit more serious, and this is definitely a good example of that. It's much slower. It hasn't got any kind of like swing elements that a lot of my stuff does. This is like a lot more like bluesy and moody, and I think the style of music suits the topic really well. Also, it's the first song I've actually like explicitly sworn in, I think. I may have sworn in some other ones, but this is certainly one where it's like a big part of the song, like it's actually part of the chorus and even part of the title. And the reason for that is basically I wanted it to be like a kind of like a gesture of defiance, you know, to basically say the whole message of the song is that like I don't want to be like everyone else and I don't feel like I should have to be. And so by kind of like swearing and using that word, which I don't normally use in my music, I think it helps hammer that message home a little bit. Also, I think like one of the reasons that I don't swear in my music normally is I think I haven't got a problem with swearing and I swear all the fucking time, but I feel like if you do it too much in music, it loses its impact and its power. And so when you do use it, if you don't use it very often, when you do use it, it has more of an impact. And I think because people aren't used to hearing me swear in songs, when they hear this one, it will have that more impact and it will have more power, which is what I want. So as usual, there's quite a few lines that I like in this one, but my favourite one is probably,
"You ask me if I still rap as you throw up your hands and mimic a gang sign. I'll roll my eyes and sigh and reply, yeah, but it's really not that tight."
And the reason I like that one is because that happens all the time basically, even when it's not people from my past or sort of like people I went to school with, even people I meet now. A lot of the time, if I explain that I rap, the first thing they do is they go, "What? You rap?" And they do this little hand thing, which is, I think, supposed to be a gang sign. And it's always hilarious, and I've always got to laugh and go, haha, yeah, but it's not really that sort of rap. And yeah, I just wanted to include that in a song anyway, but particularly it just fits into this because like those sorts of people are particularly common when I'm in these situations. So yeah, I just wanted to include it, and I felt it summed it up quite nicely with that line. The other line that I like is when I say that I've come to the reunion without a date, and the character Amy goes,
"You tilt your head and give my arm a patronising stroke and tell me that's alright, and my reply is thanks, I know."
And again, I think a lot of people who have ever been to these situations, if you're past your like mid-20s and you turn up to like a family event or a social occasion without a date, like you basically look like a leper or something, and particularly like older relatives will come over and just be like, oh, and really sympathise with you, and particularly women, like I feel even more sorry for them because there's even more pressure for women to settle down as they get older. So I felt this was again a nice lyric to include in the track, and one that a lot of people can relate to. So that is basically it for this episode of Behind the Bars. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you think. Have you been in situations like this before? If so, have I kind of like ticked off all of the various things that people have said and how they've made you feel? Or is there more stuff that people have said? And also in the third verse where I retaliate and I say the stuff to these people that we all want to be saying, have I managed to include everything? Or again, is there other stuff that you'd like to say to them? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll be back next week with another track. The next one is called Same Old, and it's a sort of spooky horror story, and I said at the end of my last Behind the Bars for my gym that would be this week, and I got it wrong. So that's actually next week. So keep an eye out for that, and I'll catch you guys very soon. Thanks for watching. Peace.